Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu wa sallam wa barak ala abdillah wa rasulih wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa alihi wa sallam tasliman kathira amma ba'd. After praising Allah, the Almighty, send the salutations and asking Allah to bless our Prophet, his family that were Muslim, the companions that believed in his message and spread his message. This is the continuation of our class, Shu'ab al-Imam, the branches of faith by Imam al-Bihaqi, rahimahullah ta'ala, and we are still in the part which is Shu'ab al-Thaniya, the second branch, belief in the prophets and messengers. So the first branch that the Imam mentioned with his evidence is to believe in Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. And you can talk realistically on and on and on and on and on about that. Why? Because anything that's connected to Allah's deen is part of belief in Allah. Anything that's directly or indirectly tied to the issue of belief in Allah is to be discussed when you say belief in Allah, such as the existence of Allah. When you say belief in Allah, many of the scholars said the first part of belief in Allah, al-Imam bi-wujudillah, bi-wujudillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wujud means existence. So if you're going to believe in Allah, how can you believe in Allah and you don't believe, or you have some discrepancies in how to believe in His existence? Okay. So that's an example of what is tied to belief in Allah, belief in the existence of Allah, Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Second example, belief in Allah, that you believe that Allah Azza wa Jal, He is ilahun wahid. Ilahun, to be worshipped, wahid, alone. You believe in that, not that He's to be worshipped with others, or others should be worshipped instead of Allah, in substitution of Allah, but that He is ilahun wahid. As is mentioned many times in the Quran, wa ilahukum ilahun wahid. And your deity that you worship is one deity, meaning He's alone. He's not to be associated partners with Him. And then Allah said, huwa rahmanu ar-rahim. He is ar-Rahman, the one who owns all of the mercy, and ar-Rahim, the one who gives it. It's another example, belief in Allah, believing that He is the one to be worshipped alone. Another example, belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is belief in His rububiyyah. Belief in His rububiyyah. Rububiyyah comes from the word Rabb, the one who nourishes, the one who sustains, the one who manages and looks after and maintains and gives you. So rububiyyah means the one who's doing that. That Allah, He's the one who gives you, He maintains, He provides, He cares, and also the one who does all of that. He's the one who created you, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another example of belief in Allah is believing in His rububiyyah, His lordship, what He does as a Lord. Another example, belief in Allah, Tabaraka wa ta'ala, belief in the asma'i wa sifat. Al-Imanu bi asma'i wa sifat, Jalla fi ula. To believe in Allah, the mighty, the sublime, who is above everything, and He's above the heavens, above His throne. To believe that He has names and that He has attributes. He has names and He has actions that reflect the name and the things that He do that goes with that name. So all of this is belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Belief in Allah, the mighty, the sublime. The second thing in the ayat, Allah mentioned the Quran, His angels. But Imam al-Bihaqi brought as his second example of the branches of faith, belief in the messengers. Belief in the messengers. Why did he bring belief in the messengers second? Belief in the messengers after belief in Allah, when the ayat, Allah says second, the angels. And the Prophet in the Hadith of Jibreel, he mentioned angels second. Why did Imam Bayhaqi switch the order from belief in Allah, His angels, His books, messengers, the last day, and belief in the hereafter. Why did Imam Bayhaqi say belief in Allah and the messengers instead of belief in Allah and the angels? Why? Those people that were here last week, you should have the answer. لماذا تقدم الإمام بحق الرسل يعني على ملائكة? Why did he put the angels after the prophets and messengers in belief when the ayah and hadith reflects the second thing to believe in is the angels? Now في أحد لا تجيبوه. Nobody has an answer. Because the understanding that the Imam wanted to give off was the Shahada. What's the Shahada? Belief in what?
Allah.
And what else?
His messenger.
So when we take Shahada, we say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. We bear witness none has the right to be worshipped except Allah. Wa ashhadu yani bi rusul. And we believe in the messengers. We say that?
Yes.
We do?
No, we say we believe in yes, we do. Ashhadu
As a guidance.
Ashhadu anna no, we believe that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah.
So,
As our guidance.
okay, tell you. But listen, you guys listen carefully. Imam Bayhaqi, after belief in Allah, the second pillar of Iman, or second branch, he said, al-Imam bi Rusul. Rusul, messengers. Rusul, messenger. So he said Rusul, messengers. So my question to you is, what is Shahada? When we say Shahada, we say Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, which means I bear witness no one should be worshipped besides Allah. Wa ashhadu bi Rusul, and we believe in the messengers. Do we say that?
No.
What do we say for Shahada?
أشهد أن محمد رسول الله.
We believe that Muhammad is Rasulullah, the messenger.
Right.
So why is Imam Bayhaqi bringing belief in the messengers rather than belief in the angels, like Allah mentioned the order in the Quran and the Prophet? Why? Why is he switching?
Because you have to believe in all the messengers.
You
have to believe in all the messengers.
Allahu Akbar Kabira. That's what I'm looking for. And this is how you learn Islam and how you know somebody learned it correctly. What you're given of the evidence, you give it back. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just what you just said is what we mentioned last week. And how do we know we have to believe in all of them and not one of them? Allah said, كذب يعني قوم النوح مرسلين. كذبت, they disbelieved. Who did? قوم النوح, the people of Nuh, bin mursaleen, and the messengers. Now, how many messengers was alive during the time of Nuh alayhi salam?
Just him.
Allah Akbar. Man, Nuh.
Yeah.
Just
فقط Nuh.
right.
لا يوجد يعني ابن عمه or خالة عمه, I think they said from his mother's side, يعني نبي الله Lot. And Allah mentioned them both in the Quran at the same time. But Lut came later. And Allah said, كذب قوم النور يعني بالمرسلين. They disbelieved in the messengers. While when Nuh alayhi salam was commanded to build the Safina and to get those people on the Safina, he was the only one at that time. How many years was he given dawah?
900.
900 something. Yeah.
950. They say
900.
Alf is 1,000. 10 times 10 is what? 100. 100 times 10 is what?
1,000.
That's how long Yani he gave dawah. He said Alf illa khamseen. They in Arabic said 1,000 minus 50. So ألف إلى 50 يعني عام, except minus 50 years equals 950. ده قومهم نوح عليه الصلاة والسلام يعني 1000 إلى 50 سنة. He called his people 950. But he didn't die after 950. He lived to be longer than that. So part of his life, Allah made Lut, who some said is his cousin, I believe, from the mother's side, a prophet. But when Allah said, كَذَّبَ قَوْمَ نُوحٍ مُرْسَلِينَ, he was the only one on the scene. Why did Allah say Mursaleen, messengers, if he's the only one? Because if you disbelieve in one, automatically by default you disbelieve in what? All of them. Why? لأن دعوتهم وربهم يعني واحد. Their call, their message in general is one, and their Lord is one. So it's like this. If you have 10 people in the room, and all of them say the same thing, and the one person comes and he says, I don't believe in anything you have to say. Everything you have to say on a particular issue, and he says the issue, and then he says it's falsehood. The other 9 people that agree with me, does that person automatically disagree with him too?
Yes. They said the same thing.
They said the same thing, yeah. If we all say the same thing, say the sun, yani, is shining. And that person comes in and he didn't go outside. And he says, I got a question for you. I said, yes. He says, the sun's shining? I said, yeah, the sun is shining. He said, I don't believe nothing you have to say. I just looked out there and there was no sun. It's dark outside. And all of us, right before he came in, said the sun is shining. We can see it through the window. Somebody said, I just came in, it's sunny. Somebody else said, the forecast said, yani, sunny. That person says, no, I don't believe nothing you have to say. I know it's sunny. I know it's cloudy. If the other 9 people agreed with me and said that it's sunny, him disagreeing with me, does he disagree with all the other people as well? Yeah. It's the same reason why Allah said, كَذَّبَ قَوْمَ نُوحٍ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. The people of Noah, they disbelieved in all the messengers. Why? Because if he disbelieved in you, Noah, and your message is the same as the next one, and the next one, and the next one, all the way to Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, then by default, that person is going to disbelieve. He has disbelieved in all of the messengers. And why was Noah called the messenger while he didn't receive a book? What do we say is the primary difference between Nabi, a prophet, and Rasul, a messenger? What's the primary difference? Somebody's turning the pages. Smart.
The Rasul comes with the message. And the Nabi, he comes to like reinforce, to tell you who you should worship.
Who you should worship, and what's the opposite? Who you shouldn't.
And who you shouldn't worship.
Okay, tell you.
Right.
But the messenger, he comes with that, but he also has a message, and the message is inside of a what?
The book.
Right. That's the primary difference between a prophet and a messenger. The Nabi is coming to tell you who you worship, who you shouldn't worship, and the messenger is going to tell you that too. But the messenger has a message, meaning a group of things that he has to tell you. Legislation that he has to tell you. Do's and don'ts that are more than who you shouldn't worship and who you should. And that is inside of a book. That's the difference between Nabi, one who informs you, and al-Rasul, the one who gives you a message. So we said, therefore, every messenger is a prophet, but not every prophet is a what? Messenger. Kullu yani rusulun nabi wa laysa kullu nabi rusul. Every messenger is also a prophet, but not every prophet is a messenger. Why? Because they both have to convey, worship Allah, Leave the false deities. Worship Allah. You have no other deity you should be worshiping except Him. But the messenger, in addition to that, he has a message. And the message is inside of his book. So why did Allah Azza wa Jal, why did the Prophet ﷺ call Nu Mursaleen? Meaning, Yani Rusul. He didn't have a book. Because he's the first one, despite having no book, Allah called him messenger, a messenger, Nuh, because he actually went out into the earth like a messenger. The prophet stays with his people. His message is for his people. But the messenger, his message is for his people, but it includes the message before and the message after. So Nuh was called a messenger, although he didn't have a book, because he was sent out into the earth. He was sent out into the earth, just like a courier today, a messenger. He's sent from this place to that place. So this is part of the meaning of a messenger. He doesn't just inform his people in his locale, but he goes out. Now, he goes out. So this is the last place we left off. We want to mention today, moving forward, what the Imam, he mentions Mada as it relates to al-Ikhtilaf fi al-Anbiya. The difference of opinion that scholars have as it relates to who's a prophet and who's not. Who's a prophet and who's not. And we said that there are different numbers people have given for prophets. Some of them have said there's 25 prophets and messengers combined together mentioned in the Quran. And that's easy. You can't say that's not right, that's false, that's not sahih. All you have to do is read the Quran. Each time you get to one of those people's name, he's a prophet or a messenger. Each time Allah mentions He's going to say to His people, Ya qawmi, O my people, I'budullaha, worship Allah, ma lakum min ilahin ghayr. You have no other deity you should be worshipping except Allah. That person is a prophet. And if he's a messenger, then Allah is going to mention he has books or some type of message written, such as Ibrahim, Suhuf Ibrahim. He was given some pages. وَكَذَلِكَ Musa. Musa was given the law, the tablet that has the commandments on it, the board. Like you go to some countries, they still write it on the law. That's what's considered law, a board. They have a wooden board, they write the ayats on, and they teach, they erase like this. So if he's given law, a board, al-suhuf, and a sahifa, page or pages, he's considered a messenger. After Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, ماذا بارك الله فيكم داود وآتينا داود الزبورة, and I revealed to Dawood Zabura. It's a book. وكذلك ماذا موسى عليه السلام التوراة. التوراة من الله عز وجل توراة والله, 10 Commandments, Torah. وكذلك عيسى بن مريم, he was received from Allah Azza wa Jal, revealed from Allah al-Injil. وَنَبِيُّنَا Kareem alayhi salatu wassalam, alayhim as-salam jami'an, may Allah Azza wa Jal send His salutations and blessings upon them all, our Prophet, the Quran al-Kareem. وَالسُّنَّةِ mutahhara, and the pure authentic sunnah, those two both given to him by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these are messengers. 5 messengers, and if it's 25 prophets and messengers in the Quran, 5 of them messengers, what are the other 20? Prophets. Jazakumullah khair. Other ones are prophets. Now, so this is authentic. As for the other narrations, they were 1,300 and something messengers Prophet sent to Bani Israel, kada wa kada wa kada, this and that. Those numbers are not authentic. Any narration you read that's considered a hadith of a particular number is not authentic. The only thing we have that's authentic, the narration where the scholars said that there are 25 prophets and messengers mentioned in the Quran, and there are some barakallahu fikum recordings of that, some hadith that match that. As far as any other numbers, then they are da'if. And even the one that says 25 prophets and messengers of the Quran, it's a hadith. There's some problem in the chain, but the meaning is authentic, according to most scholars, because all you have to do is go read the Quran, and each name count, and you'll get 25. As it relates to them, who was the first of the prophets and messengers?
Adam
alayhi salatu wasalam. Naam. Wa kadhala qila Sheath ibn, his son Sheath. Naam. This was when the whole musical instruments and the bangles on the ladies' ankles were revealed. And Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala mentioned the shaitan will come by way of people's voice and muzamir, the instruments, that sheath. Also you have Barakallahu Fikum Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam, that's 3. You have Yasa and Liyas, that's 5. You have Kadalik, Ibrahim. We should go in order. So Adam, number 1. Sheath, number 2. Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam. بعد النوح ماذا you have Ibrahim, you have that's number 4. Ismail ويعقوب لا Ismail was Haq نعم ويعقوب ويوسف, that's 8. طيب, you have Yasa'a, Elias, that's 10. You have Hud, that's 11. Salih, 12. You have Lut, that's 13. You have that's 13. You have Allahumma salli ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Sulaiman, you have Daud, number 14. Sulaiman, 15. You have Muhammad, Musa, wa Harun, the 17. You have Hud, Saleh, and the last one who? Isa ibn Maryam, Asaf, Isa ibn Maryam. So I must have skipped one. That should be 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. And the last one after Isa is who? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that's 25. 25. Now, هكذا؟
No.
طيب. أما بارك الله فيكم, and that's why we said 25 mentioned that are confirmed. But the number, when they said 25, Allah musta'an, not sahih. Because if you count those 25, what about Dhul Qarnayn? What about Khidr? What about Luqman? Some said Luqman was a prophet. Luqman al-Hakim. لكن ليس ثبت عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم على أن لقمان هو نبي. But it's not authentically reported that Luqman is a prophet. But كان من حكمائي. He was from the wise people. كان عابد صالح, a righteous person, a upright worshipper. That very seldom used his tongue. Very seldom made judgments. Very seldom talked about people. And he stayed away from the people up in the mountains, worshiping Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, similarly to the story of Juraj, the monk who was in the mountains, and they blamed him and wanted to disgrace him because he would not trick or do stuff for Allah. He did go into intercourse with the prostitutes in the mountains. Like some of the monks during this time fell victim to this. Fell victim to, although he's a monk, he has a worship, fasting, and salat. He has his portion of taqwa. Those women would go up in the mountains and offer, and they would fall into a zina. But Juraj resisted. So they wanted to get him back. They lied on him because they were mad, showed that he's not that righteous, out of jealousy. And it was because of the dua of his mother. That you should be careful of wronging people, especially parents. Even the Sahih al-Imam Bukhari, a long story. In short, his mother was calling him, Ya Juraj. So imagine you in the mountains. And we're talking about those prophets that there's a discrepancy, whether or not they're prophet or less. So we always said, look, a man, not a prophet. A wise man, a person of worship, and a person of wisdom, hikmah, insight, but not a prophet. Next, we're saying that Juraj was similar in the fact that those worshippers would be up in the mountains away from the people. So I'm giving the parallel how Juraj is not considered a prophet, in the area of difference of opinion, but he, like Luqman, used to be up in the mountains to worship Allah. They would get away from the evil of the people to worship Allah. So that Juraj, his mother was calling him, Ya Juraj, like she needed him. And he would be praying, and he would be saying to himself, my mother or my salah. Salat al ummi. Salati al ummi. Should I break my salat and answer my mother, or should I finish? Should I stop my prayer, cut and interrupt my worship, answer my mother, or finish my prayer and then answer my mother? And when he would pray long. She maybe called him a long time, Juraj, Juraj. So finally she got mad. And she said, may he not die until he's disgraced. May he not die until Allah disgraces him in the face of the prostitutes. So that circle of people that wanted to entrap Juraj, they themselves started to spread around that a particular lady who was prostituting her baby, Juraj is the father. People started whispering, ooh, you heard? That's Juraj, baby. Ooh, he was with so-and-so. Ooh, billah. And Juraj came down finally from the mountain to serve his mother. She was upset, and the story spread. So Juraj went in front of the people. All of the people lined up. The people who were, I believe, responsible as leaders, and those people in the village, they lined up, and they had the baby, and they had the lady. And the lady was making a claim, he's my baby's father, to disgrace him. Why? Because if he was like that, he's just like the rest of those monks, those religious preachers that in one sense, they were preaching, talking righteousness, and then when they were up in the mountains, they were doing sexual acts, living a double life. Juraj wasn't like that. So Allah Azza wa Jal commanded that baby to speak. And everybody was there, and the baby said that this is my father, and pointed to the old shepherd man, one of the old shepherd men that used to herd the sheep. He was the one sleeping with that lady amongst other men, and she got pregnant by him. And that's considered one of the children that spoke from the cradle. So hadith in Bukhari that Isa ibn Maryam spoke from the cradle, and two other babies, it said Isa ibn Maryam وصبي من بني إسرائيل والثالثة. It said Isa and another baby spoke as an infant, and another baby from Bani Israel, which they don't mention who's the third. Some of them say that third was the baby in the story of the boy and the king. Some said it was the baby of the hairdresser of Fir'aun. Some said Now, Hakada. But we know that Isa and Juraj, the prophet mentioned them too, he said, and the third child of Bani Israel. So what's the parallel between Juraj and Luqman, who everybody unanimously said he's not a prophet? They used to be in the mountains, those monks. Used to, at Tezela and Nas, go away from the people. Like Musalam was doing, which made the story of Jibril coming to him in a what?
Form of a man.
Jibril came to him in a what?
Form of a man.
In the form of a man.
Jibril came to him, not in the form of what? He came to the prophet, and the prophet was in a what?
A cave.
A cave, yeah. Came to the prophet, and the prophet was in, yani what? A cave. Not the Jibril came, and he was in what? A form of a man. The prophet was in a cave. So it's a common trait going way back, all the way to Juraj, Luqman. Before that, people used to go to the cave, yani, to get away from the city, hustle, bustle, the sins, and so forth. So Luqman al-Hakim is not a prophet. Although some people said it, the ulama said he's not a prophet. There's no proof to say he's a prophet. Rather, he's from the hukama'u, the people of wisdom and righteousness. And he would always hold his tongue. Luqman, yani al-Hakim. Why is he called al-Hakim? When from the names of Allah is al-Hakim, because al-Hakim doesn't mean he has all of the knowledge and the wisdom. If you say Allah huwa al-Hakim, that means Allah has all of the knowledge and the wisdom. Wisdom, Hakim, goes with knowledge. But when you call a person like Luqman al-Hakim, that means he has shay'an min al-hikmah. He has shay'an min al-ilm. He has some hikmah. He has some deep insight. He has some knowledge, but not all. Same thing if you say al-Aziz. The common thing, the Arabs is so and so and so, al-Aziz. You say, how could he be al-Aziz? Allah is al-Aziz. Nah. Allah is al-Aziz. يعني فيه عزة كاملة وله قدرة كاملة وله يعني ماذا العلم الشيء كاملة. Allah has total power, total ability. He's not limited, and he has to have power in order to stop and do things. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But someone, he's al-Aziz, that means he has some type of status, he has some type of power, some authority, but not all authority, not all power, and he doesn't have total knowledge of everything. So these names can be used like that as it relates to the El, and maybe the name is similar to Allah's name, except Ar-Rahman. Nobody can be Ar-Rahman. That's exclusively for Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala and His name Allah. Allah, exclusively for Allah. Ar-Rahman, exclusively for Ar-Rahman, is exclusively for Allah. And Kadalik, yani, those other names, yani, that we don't have time to go into, but there's some exceptions to the rule, such as Al-Aziz, Al-Hakim, Luqman Al-Hakim. So Luqman Al-Hakim, who by the way was a black slave also. A black slave, and very revered by his people, high esteem, to the point that Allah mentioned him in the Quran. That he said, one of the main things that Allah talked about was him teaching his family to stay away from the haram and to establish the salah, and giving that instruction to his son as a young age. Ya bunayya la tushrik billah inna shirka la dhulmun azim. Oh my son, yani, do not make partners with Allah. Verily, shirk is the worst type of wrongdoing. Hakada. So that's Luqman. He's not a prophet. This is the area of difference of opinion. Who's a prophet, who's not? The next one is Mada al-Khidr. Khidron fi qissas Musa alayhi salam. Khidr, yani, some said he's a prophet, some said he's not. What do you think? Khidr a prophet or not?
No.
No. Somebody else? Prophet, Khidr, Naam or La?
Khidr?
In the story of Musa.
No.
Said no.
No.
Naam?
Yes.
Okay, so somebody said no, somebody said yes. Khidr. هل هو نبي أم لا؟ ماذا عندك يا عمر? He's a prophet or not? What do you think?
Yes.
Yes, طيب. What makes him a prophet makes him not a prophet?
Prophet has a
كذا ثم كذا.
He received wahi.
He received wahi. He told somebody to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and avoid the false deities.
No.
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 كيف يكون نبي هنا إذا? How could he be a prophet? What is the meaning of Nabi? He said again. We gave two meanings, linguistic meaning and the Shari'i meaning. Remember that? The literal linguistic meaning and the Shari'i meaning. النبي يعني في اللغة من أنبأ بشيء. من أنبأ بشيء. أنبأ means to inform. من أنبأ, whoever informs بشيء. Somebody of something, he's considered Nabi. نبأه. Yani he informs him. So anybody that Allah نبأه بشيء, yani huwa Nabi. If Allah informs him of something directly, he's a prophet. Shara'an, Islamically, if Allah أنبأه يعني بتوحيد الله تبارك وتعالى, Allah informs him of the tawheed. Allah informs him of the tawheed, meaning Allah informs him there's no one to be worshipped except me, and to avoid the false deities. Then that person is a prophet Islamically. He's been given that. Allah told him that. And now his job is to believe the nas. He got to go tell that to the people. So Nabi in the linguistic sense, ma'na lugawi, means anybody that Allah tells them something. But Islamically, shara'an, diniyan, and Nabi, the one Allah tells them the tawheed. That there's no one to be worshipped except me, and then he's asked to tell his people. So for example, some scholars have said that Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala informed Maryam. How do we know that Allah informed Maryam? Because Allah said in the Quran, with قالت الملائكة, and when the angel said to Maryam, Ya Maryam, O Maryam, inna Allah stafaki, Allah has chosen you, وَطَهَّرَكِ, and purified you. Inna Allah istafaki وَطَهَّرَكِ وَاسْتَفَاكِ عَلَى النِّسَاءِ عَالَمِينَ. And He has not only chosen you and purified you of any type of sin and disobedience, but He has chosen you and made you exceptional over all other women in the world. Then Allah said, Ya Maryamu, uqtuni li rabbiki. And Allah commands you, O Mary, uqtuni li rabbiki. Submit to your Lord. Wasjudi, prostrate to Him. Waraka'i ma'araki'in, and bow down with those who bow down. That's Allah doing what? Informing her of something from the angel. So you have some ulama like Ibn Hazm, Ibn Hazm, Mada al-Andalusi, who said she's a Nabi. Because Allah informed her in this clear ayah in Surah al-Imam, وَكَذَلْ في Surah Maryam, ماذا أنبأها بشيء, Allah informed her something. لكن الشرعية شرعا Islamically ليست بنبي. ليست بنبية. She's not a prophet in the Islamic sense. She's not a prophet in the Islamic sense because Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala did not tell her to go to her people with the message. Everybody Allah gave the message to, He told them go to their people. Is that clear?
Very clear.
So linguistically, anybody that Allah informs of something, they are considered Nabi from the perspective Allah informed them, directly or through the angel. But Islamically, Shara'an, Diniyan, if they are given the the message of Tawheed, and they are commanded to go and give that to other people, from their people, then they are prophets. So Khidr, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala sent him to Musa. And Allah Azza wa Jal said he was going to meet A'lam Nas fil Ard. He's going to meet the most knowledgeable person in the earth. And Musa thought nobody was more knowledgeable than him. So as the story went, they were together on the journey, and every time Khidr did something, Musa asked him, why you do that? And Khidr would say to him, be patient. And Musa would apologize, and Khidr would say, you're apologizing, but you're going to break your promise. You yourself, lan tastati alayhi sabra. You cannot restrain. You're going to ask me again rather than be impatient, and let me tell you in the end. Finally, Musa did it so many times on this journey that Khidr said, if you do it again, this is going to be it. I'm not going to give you another break. Musa said, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ask you. I didn't mean to jump the gun. Khidr said again, that you, lan tastati alayhi sabra, you can't help it. You can't restrain. You're going to blow it and ask me again. The last time, Khidr said, هذا فراغ بيني وبينك سأنبئكم ما لم تستطع عليه صبرا. This is where we're going to have to depart. The trip is going to end between me and you, but I'm going to first tell you, I'm going to inform you, the word nabba'a. I'm going to tell you, inform you of the things that you couldn't restrain from. And then he told him. In the end, Khidr said, وَمَا فَأَلْتُ ذَلِكَ عَنْ أَمَرِي. I didn't do any of this on my own accord. Allah commanded me to do this. So that means he's a prophet. Him saying, I didn't do this for my own self. I only did this because Allah commanded me and gave me this knowledge to bring to you. That makes Khidran Nabi. Now, Amma Dhul Qarnayn. Man, who is Dhul Qarnayn? Who's Dhul Qarnayn?
A very wealthy man.
A very wealthy man, like Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm. Very wealthy.
Stuck with Allah.
Man, stuff.
Man who is Dhul Qarnayn. Who is he? It's not enough. He's very wealthy. Come on, guys.
Oh, he was
Intellectual.
He was powerful.
Say intellectual, powerful. Okay, now,
Yeah.
mashallah, sounds good. Yani wealth, very wealthy. Someone's intellectual, powerful. Come on. He was a man who had a what?
He had a big army.
Had a big army. He also had a kingdom,
Yeah.
in which some scholars give interpretations of the statement Magharibiha wa Sharakiha, the east and the west. Some said his kingdom existed the whole length of the east and the west. It went from the east to the west. All of that he owned. Some said no, but that he traveled from the east to the west. And some said that Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala allowed him to conquer from the east to the west. These are some of the interpretations of what Allah meant when he said from the east and the west regarding Dhul Qarnayn. Number one, again, his kingdom was from the east to the west in length and how much he owned. Number two, he traveled from the east to the west with great influential powers in his army, or he himself conquered the east and the west. Al-Kulhal, Dhul Qarnayn, laysa bi nabi. He's not a prophet. He's not a prophet. Rather, they said Abdul Salih, a righteous man. يعني وكذلك يعني الملك من الملوك. He was a king of dynasty, and like this, a man of taqwa, yani a man of piety, yani, and that he was very knowledgeable. The fact that he was able to do certain things that no one else did before him. Some people will try to say he's Alexander the Great, and the fact that he had his army build a bridge in a time where technology was not like we have today, but they built a bridge over the water going from the east to the west, and that he went there to frighten those people that he was going to conquer, to show them that he can do whatever he sets his mind to. He didn't conquer them. He went back across the bridge and then had them destroy the bridge, and that put the people in total fear of him because of that ability. Some said this is Dhul Qarnayn. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Some debate whether he was black or not. Some of them say Dhul Qarnayn. Qarnayn means the two yani horns. Some say Qaran also means jihah, a direction. So Qarn, direction. Qarnayn, the two directions, the east and the west. So Dhul, the possessor. Qarnayn of the two areas, the east and the west. Some said Dhul Qarnayn because Qarn means a braid. Qarnayn, two braids. He used to wear his hair in two braids. Some said that. Some said Qarn, yani a horn. Qarnayn, two horns on his helmet, which was his helmet of worship and fighting. You know, على كل حال لقبه ذو القرنين وذكره يعني بهذه لقب في القرآن. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala mentioned him by this nickname in the Quran. And ذو القرنين ليس من أنبياء ولا من المرسلين. He's not from the prophets nor the messengers. نعم العزير قالت اليهود عزير بن الله وقالت نصارى عيسى ابن الله ذلك قول من أفواههم. Now Allah Azza said, and the Jews say Uzair is the son of Allah, and the Christians that said the Nasara Isa is the son of Allah. Allah said this is a statement only from their tongues of falsehood. Now, so Uzair, debate, ikhtilaf, bin ulama, Nabi Amla. Some of them say is Uzair a prophet or not. Some said prophet. Some said prophet, like Isa alayhi salam, is prophet, messenger. Others la. Uzair laysa bin Nabi. He was not a prophet. But كان رجل يعني عابد صالح. He was from the people of Bani Israel, who was a righteous monk, similar to Juraj, Naam, well, كذلك similar to يعني Luqman al-Hakim, يعني similar to many people that came, and they were not prophets and messengers, but they were people who were righteous and people of worship, people of ibadah. So thus, this is what they said about Uzair, who Allah mentioned him in the Quran. Most scholars say he's not a prophet because we have no text to say that he is a prophet. And one of the characteristics of the people of the book, they used to take not only the graves of their prophets and messengers and make the masjids, build the masjid over the grave. So when they're in the masjid, they're praying to that prophet and messenger. Or they will take the prophet and messenger and bury him inside of the masjid, which the ruling is the same. Whether you build the masjid over the grave or the masjid is constructed, you bring the body in and put it inside the ground, make the grave in the masjid, both of them prohibited. But they also used to do, from the narration of the Sahih Bukhari Muslim, Aisha said, هم شر يعني خلق يعني كان يعبدوا يعني كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لعنة الله على يهود والنصارى اتخذ قبور يعني أنبيائهم مساجد وصالحيهم. That the Prophet said, may the curse of Allah, and another way to translate it is that the curse of Allah is on the Jew and the Christian who constructs. That means those who do this from the Jew and the Christian. The curse of Allah may be on them, or you can say it is upon them. Meaning that Allah is not going to bless them because they're making shirk. The curse of Allah is on the Jew and the Christian that does this. They construct and make the graves of their prophets and messengers a masjid. And here's the highlight: وَصَالِحِيهِمْ, and their righteous people. So صَالِحِيهِمْ Uzair, from their righteous people. Not the prophet, not the messenger. And inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala, we'll stop here. Wa sallallahu wa sallam ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Any questions? So today's section was dealing with the branches of faith. What's the second one that the Imam Bayhaqi brought? Belief in the messengers. And then we reviewed the last class, and then we started with the difference of opinion between who's a prophet and who's not a prophet. That was today's lesson. Any questions? Around the top. You guys sleep? Y'all need some coffee? What's the deal? So, prophet. Elijah Muhammad, prophet.
La.
Ghulam Ahmed, prophet.
La.
Mother Teresa, prophet.
La.
Allahu Akbar. She was a Christian lady, she died. Very influential, did a lot of charity. Now, لكن ليس نبيا. هل عندنا أنبياء في هذه الأيام? Do you have any prophets, new prophets these days? Yeah. But they're يعني دجالين, they're liars, false prophets. ولا النبي بعد. The Prophet said there's no prophet to come after him. And if the Prophet said ولا النبي بعد, there's no prophet after him, that also means ولا رسل, and no messengers after him for that. Now the Nabi Sallam كان النبي ورسل. Our prophet was a Nabi and a messenger. Oh. صار النبي عند قول الله عز وجل بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبلا السمعين بسم الله الرحيم أو بلا السمعين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اقرأ باسم ربك الذي خلق خلق الإنسان من علق اقرأ ربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لا يعلم. That is what made him a prophet. رسول الله سيأيه المذكر يا أيها المدثر قم فأنذر ربك فكبر وثيابك فطهر. Now, وَرُجْسَ فَهْجِرْ. Now, here Allah just said, oh, you one wrapped in the blanket who's shivering. After he came from the cave and Khadijah wrapped him up, Allah told him, قُم فَأَنذِر. Andir means in that and the shirk. Tell the people, don't make shirk. وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ. And your Lord فَكَبِّرْ. The scholars said here, رَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ doesn't mean Allah Akbar. Because that's what kabbir means, to magnify. And who do you magnify? Your Lord. So وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ doesn't mean pray, because salat wasn't legislated at that time. They said وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ means to magnify your Lord, the Tawheed, to worship Allah. Tell them to worship Allah. And what thiyabaka fatahhir didn't mean clean your clothes for salat. It means your heart. So Allah called thiyabaka, yani your clothing. Allah used that word for qulubakum, purify your hearts from shirk. So the Prophet with al-Iqra became prophet. The scholars said, wa Rusul became a messenger when Allah revealed, yeah, you had muddathir. So our prophet was a prophet and a messenger. Sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi wa sallam. So صلى على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا والحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. You call the dawn of the wrong. That mic over there, just on the stand. You gotta cut it on from the stand.